Hey guys, Adrian Racing here, back today with another video. So over the past couple of years, I feel like I've progressed quite a lot as a sim racer. I feel like I'm quicker, more consistent, and my race results show that, with me now being able to hold over 3.2k I rating fairly well, which is something scarcely believable a year ago when I could struggle to keep 2.5k. But how can you measure how well you've improved as a sim racer? Now, I started this hobby way back about 5 years ago now, in 2018, back on Xbox, and just doing it as fun, as it still is now. I only do this for the fun of it. Something like iRacing, I've only done iRacing for 2 years, and while I could go back and compare the amount of updates and stuff that have gone on that sim, lap times aren't really comparable after a couple of seasons. But I suddenly had a memory this morning of a video I made back in 2019, basically of me hot lapping the Nordschleife on Assetto Corsa.
As you can see in front of you, I have gone to Germany, in particular the Nordschleife.
But Assetto Corsa, and at least the base content from Kunos, is still the same. So my challenge today is to try and beat that lap time. Now, the lap time was a 7:35.69. Nice. And if I don't beat this, I will just retire from sim racing and take up a really dull, boring hobby like golf or something. Now, the car and track combination in question is, of course, the Nordschleife, and it is the Audi TT Cup. A car that I honestly have never driven since I made that video in 2019. And I'd like to think that I've improved in my video making and enthusiasm as well. Looking back, 2019 me was very dreary with the commentary. But enough of me rambling on. Let's jump onto track, and I will see you guys on there. So before we do jump into the car, I just want to say there are going to be two factors at play here. Number one is my own driving ability, which is still not great, but a lot better than it was back in the day. Looking back at that video, there's no trail braking, throttle is a light switch. I'm using either none of the track or I'm on the grass. Yeah, my skills come along a lot way since then, as you would expect. And there's also the rig aspect as well. Back then I had a T300, or TX to be precise, some non-load cell T3PA pedals. I sat in a playseat challenge, and I had a TV, not a monitor, which I sat really far away from and had awful FOV. Now I have load cell brake, I have a direct drive wheel, I have a proper GT1 Evo rig, I'm on a good monitor with properly set up FOV, yada 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 yada. But as with every great science experiment, you have to have a prediction. And I predict a 7:17 to be the lap time. Full disclaimer, I have done no testing. I have literally just jumped on and realized I've picked the wrong car, so I need to go change that quickly. Right, anyway, right car selected, and enough of me rambling on. Let's jump on to the track and see what we can do. So as I said, 7:35.69 to beat, and I predict a 7:17 is going to be the lap time that I managed to set.
A few moments later.
First gear's a bit too short, I think. Probably would mess around with the gearing. Oh, the understeer on the front. Oh my God. So I definitely didn't embarrass myself a minute ago and just, you know, bash it into the wall at the first sector of the lap. Not this guy. Anyway, let's actually go for our first proper attempt. That was just a warm-up. That was just a warm-up. No practice, just a warm-up. Lap timer starts now up to Sabine Schmidt's curve. And through, navigated successfully. And now down the hill towards the Hatzenbach we go. Flat through this first of the right-hand kinks. Easily flat. This car's super grippy, actually. Fifth gear and then hard on the brakes. Down to second gear. Got to keep that throttle in. This being front-wheel drive, you're going to have to keep that throttle in, otherwise you ain't going to be turning anywhere. Those front wheels have got to do all the work. The back wheels are just there to stabilize the car and to keep it going in a somewhat straight line. Anyway, Hatzenbach navigated successfully, and now we start climbing all the time up the hill. We're going to keep it in fourth gear, keep that torque going over the crest of Flugplatz, flat through this double right-hander, and then now into fifth. And now we'll just watch that speed climb. About 390 horsepower in this thing, so no slouch. There's 240, there's 250, sixth gear, 255, maybe 260, about 250, 259. And then flat through Schradenkreuz, and then hard on the anchors at the change to the concrete. Down to third gear. Could probably get away with maybe braking a little bit later, but that's just where we braked for that. And now, one of my favorite parts of the circuit. Down into the foxhole, into compression, fifth gear, foot pinned, all the way down. Just feeding it between the curbs. Oh, car scraping along the bottom of the tarmac there. Now down to second gear, our rear wanting to step out. This corner, definitely where I didn't go off a minute ago. And there's the 7 kilometer mark, 1:49 into the lap. Don't know if that means actually good or bad yet. We'll see as we get towards the end of the lap. But for now, we are a small lift there, just about. And now into the hairpin. Aim for that little white dot on the ground. There it is. Don't get too much understeer, sorry, on the exit. Through the piff path. And now into miss hit miss. Let's not go off here like I did back in 2019. There we go. Nicely navigated actually through there. Down into the slowest corner on the circuit. My absolute hateful corner. Slow, but we didn't crash, which is unusual for me. And now down the hill past, fun fact, where there's actually a speed limit on the Nordschleife, because that there, where there's orange bit of barrier is, that's a secondary exit for what used to be tourist cars, and now it's used as a secondary exit for emergency vehicles, ambulances, marshals, etc., etc. Through Lauda Links before heading to one of the most important corners on the circuit. Best to get a good exit out of here, which we somewhat do. Could probably gotten on the power a little bit earlier, because now we have to carry this speed all the way up the hill through a series of left and right hand flat out kinks. Fifth gear, there's 210, 220 Ks. You're not going to see the likes of speeds heading like we did into Schradenkreuz as we are climbing all the time up the hill. But my foot is hard down now. We are climbing speed all the time, about 230 Ks. And now Mutkurva, Bravery corner. Flat, not quite flat. Missed the apex a little bit. Probably could have turned it a little bit earlier, but I still don't think it would have been flat. While this car is super grippy on these slick tires and good amount of aero, it's still a front-wheel drive Audi TT. So it's going to be tricky to take corners like you would in like a GT car. Into the carousel. Oh, car wanting to be rejected. Car's set up awfully for this circuit. It's way too stiff, way too low. Just got absolutely demolished there as the car went in. We bottomed out immediately. But we survived nonetheless, and now we get to come up to what is one of the best sectors of racetrack anywhere in the world. Into the first bit of it, into Wipperman. How much curb do we dare take? Turn in, dab the brakes down a gear, try and attack this one, and then all four over that one, almost. Whoa, as we dab onto the grass and the car wants to get loose. Over the crest we go. And now into this right-hander. Use all the exit curb available and a little bit of the grass as well, apparently. Into Brunchen or YouTube corner, whatever you want to call it. This front-wheel drive. You just got to balance the throttle. You too much and you just get torque steer, although the TC in this thing is actually really good, and I haven't noticed too much wheel spin. But if you try and just hammer the throttle too much on exit, you will just go into a straight line. Now over the jump. Oh, nice bit of air there, actually. Over the crest, flat through this left-hander. Very nicely done indeed. And now it's just the roller coaster section. Just pick your line between the curbs. Smooth as all hell. As smooth as possible, because then you don't scrub too much speed. And there are only a few more corners to go. Hard on the brakes. Don't go off there. Nicely done. Try not to use that exit curb. It Just drags you to the outside. Second carousel. Oh, we get rejected by that one as well. Just sounds like my story with women, pretty much. They all try and go towards all of them, and they all reject you. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Last 2 corners of the main part of the Nordschleife. Can we exit this flat? Easily flat. And now the long run down towards the back straight. Past the Audi gantry. We are looking at 6 minutes 20 so far. I think we are going to definitely smash the old 7:35. But can we beat my prediction of a 7:16? We've got about 45 seconds to get there past the tourist entrance. 6:35 now, 6:40 coming up as we head under the bridge. Now just got to pick our braking point for Tiergarten as late as possible, but not too late, so we end up in the barrier. I'm going to say about here. Oh, that was way too early. And round the final corner. Oh, lots of understeer, lots of ploughing, and we done a 7:02.069 again. That means we have knocked 33.5 seconds off my lap time. Damn. That was actually a lot more than I expected, to be honest. Ooh. This car's actually really fun to drive. So there we are, guys. That is me and how much I've improved in 4 years of sim racing. 35 seconds worth of lap time around the Nordschleife. I would say that's quite a resounding success, to be honest. How much that has come from equipment, I would probably say about maybe 4 or 5 seconds of that is just from rig equipment. Having a good setup FOV, having a good load cell brake. DD wheel, possibly not so much. Maybe about half a second from the DD wheel, but the rest of that purely on skill alone. And that's not a quick lap. That was a terrible lap. I could easily hit under 6 minutes if I sat here and hot lapped for another 20 minutes or so. But I just wanted to show you guys that you might think you're bad. But devote time, devote practice. And a lot of that would have come in the last couple of years from me doing iRacing pretty much full time. Having friends you can look at to compare yourself to. And telemetry as well is a big tool that can help you improve your sim racing. I recommend Garage61. It's a free service. I'm not sponsored or affiliated anyway. I just use their service on the daily. And it is excellent. And if you don't want to use Garage61, there are alternatives out there. There's, I think, Driver61. There's a coaching program. And there's also VRS telemetry, which you can use as well. But what I'm trying to say is, if you think you're bad, just practice. Pick a car, pick a track. It doesn't have to be what you're racing for. And just lap. Seat time is the most important thing in sim racing. You're not going to get better looking at other things. You're only going to get better by driving, but driving with intention. Just lapping isn't enough, but lapping with a goal, that's what gets you better. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've actually quite enjoyed making this video. It's nice to actually look back and see how far I've come, both driving and with the YouTube content as well. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you want to see me go live, then I am over on Twitch. Follow me over on there, and I will see you guys in the next one.